See if Chris can give Josh an active chase and if Josh can put down a heater lead line for him. Here we go. We are sending them for the inverse of this battle. Chris Kobus giving chase. Josh in the lead as we come up to our first corner here. That E46 wagon getting sideways. Big e-brake drag from Chris Kobus just behind him, giving him plenty of room as Josh comes through that first inside zone as an outside zone. He looks like he's having a bit of trouble straighten in the lead there, but gets it back around. Chris doing a good job keeping it sideways behind him, not giving him any room as they come through this last corner. Real shallow towards the wall there, but both drivers doing a good job keeping it sideways through the finish line. Great to see from Chris. He looks fired up in that chase position. He was our second place finisher of our last competition. Izzo getting the win, I believe, if I do recall correctly. So he is definitely going to be aiming for that top spot of the podium today. Josh, just a stepping stone as he makes his way on, but always a staple to see out here. Always a great face, always a supportive dude. If you do see Josh in the pits, make sure you give him a high five. Tell him great job for those runs. Everybody out here is doing amazing. Here we go, Cameron Jones versus Justin Bishop here. Justin, a driver we have not seen yet. Looks like he is in a Corvette as well, smoking off the start line. Cameron Jones gives him the slip a little bit as they come off the start. Cameron coming through that first inside clip, doing a pretty wide line through there, and then comes in. Let's see what he can do on this outer. Not as outside as we would like him to be, but has a good substantial gap back to that Corvette. Does a great job on this last inner right in front of the judges. Transitions early as he comes under the trailer. A little bit of an inner clip towards the wall, but does finish out the course in a proper manner there. Not the most dialed lead run we have seen all day, but definitely not a zero from Cameron in the lead. That Torco Oils and Fuels Corvette behind him, that was Justin behind him in that C6 Corvette. He was there, definitely not an inactive chase, but nothing to write home about as far as proximity there. Doing a good job transitioning behind him. Look at this, he really comes in narrow through here. Cameron was super shallow through there, not really giving him too much opportunity to suck up on the door in that last corner, but did complete the course, never straightened there from what I saw, so definitely not going to be a zero. Here we go as we see him take off from the line. Looks like that Corvette spinning tires off the line all the way up to our initiation here. Awesome to see this drone coverage. Here we go, coming through the first corner. Oh, big moment from the C6 Corvette. Cameron doing a good job to avoid a second wreck of the weekend. And look at that, he is skedaddling back over to the hot pits area. He said, I'm not even finishing that lap. I'm going to save my tires. I know he's got a pair or two of Kenda's left, so he's going to make them last. Unfortunately, Justin just getting out of hand on that entry, coming off track there. Valiant effort from both those drivers. As we take a look at this replay here, that is a sketchy place to go off. Oh man, spinning tires in the grass, never what we want to see. But this is a really hard section here. Lots of different asphalt changes there and a big candy strip to go over right there. Definitely something where you can blow some side skirts off. It is hard coming off of that first corner. It's not a corner we normally run. So definitely a great job from both drivers. I know that Torco car was looking good in the chase there behind Cameron's lead run. But we're stoked to see Cameron move on. He's one of the dogs as well. Currently, we are waiting for Bear to pull up to the line. It looks like it's going to be Bear and Charlie. Bear in that blue E36, if I remember correctly, but we'll take a look as we have our drone come back in for a landing here. Here we go. I see both of these drivers pulling up to the line. That is a E36 sedan versus E46 sedan. I wonder what is done to that E36 sedan. Getting word from Zach Whipple next to me that these may both be some of the New Mexico homies who are joining us up for Drift Carnival here at Pikes Peak International Raceway in Fountain, Colorado. Charlie in the lead there. That blue E36 with a huge left foot brake behind Charlie as Charlie e-brakes into his initiation. Great job on the inner from Charlie and great job on that outer clipping point from that white E46. Looks like Bear is transitioning way late behind him. Decides that is going to be an outer zone for him there. And oh, into the wall. Oh! Watch out, folks who are watching. We are going to have to get a cleanup crew on aisle 4. Oh, unfortunately, just offline there for Bear. Bear, are you good? Can you give us a thumbs up? He is staying in the car. Knows what the rules are for our hot pits. We're going to have to radio over to Levi to get a tow truck over here. Looks like he is all right and his passenger all right. Just a little wall tap with that rear end coming under the trailer. Folks, we are going to take a quick break so we can get this track cleaned up and get right back to competition. So we are going to be taking a quick breather here. If you need to run to the bathroom, take a look at some of our vendors. I know we have cheesesteaks here, and we've got Salty Cow here. So make sure you guys go get some grub. We'll be back in about 10 or 15 minutes after this is cleaned up. Thanks so much, guys.
And after a brief intermission and some cleanup on the track, looks like we are ready to go at the start line. Looks like they are warming up the tires. We've got Matthew versus Jordan here on the start line. Zambu getting them ready at the start line. Looks like we are sending them down the track. Leading looks like a green rd2, and in the rear a Z. Good tight proximity in the lead there. Looks like a little bit choked out in the chase. Looks like he's getting out to that outer zone. Trimming back at it. Oh, and a spin in the rear. The judges are going to have to look at this one, see if that chase driver got choked up a little bit too much and impeded by that lead driver. We're going to have to go to the judges for this one.
We're taking a look here just to see who may be at fault on this decision here, just to make sure we can take a quick look at this one, see what's going on. Looks like Matt in the lead in that green E36 was a little bit tight, a little bit off where he should have been, but then we have Jordan just behind him having a really hard time right off the start. You can see he's over the candy cane on that inner clip, maybe bumps our lead car right there, completely straight, and then reinitiates and just kind of goes and does his own thing in the back there. But look at that, Matt coming under the trailer, doing a great job. Looking good doing it, too. Those over fenders look neat. The kit looks neat. Lowrider roof looks neat. E36 stuff, man. Hard to go wrong. Bone Stock Z behind him, making that E36 look extra special. But Jordan's a good sport. He was also involved in the accident with Cameron, and Trish narrowly escaped that one last night. So he was able to get his car back together, and I know he was trying to toe plate his car, had a couple of bent arms or a bent tie rod there. So definitely don't want to fault Jordan in the slightest for what's going on right now. He is definitely just trying to get that car figured out, and unfortunate circumstances to have a little bit of a boop last night. But here we go. We're going to run the inverse of this battle. This is going to be Jordan in the lead in that gray 350Z. Matt giving chase in that green E36. Here we go, off the line. Jordan initiates a little e-brake pull. Matt behind him, giving him plenty of room, knowing there may be a technical issue, but having a hard time getting it sideways behind him. There we go, through that inner clip. Whoa, Jordan jumps that candy strip that we've seen so many times. Here we go into that inner clip. Great job coming super tight around that inner clip. Jordan comes under the trailer with good angle. And look at that, Matt able to put it close to his door. We have a big door tap from Jordan. He's stoked. He's loving that chase. And so are we up in the judges' tower. Matt did an amazing job kind of holding off, keeping his patience with him as he came through the first section of that course, waiting to make sure that Jordan got all the way through that course into the last turn before he really poured on that proximity, but doing a good job. We are going to give Matt in that green E36 the win. Looks like Matthew Beller is that gentleman's name. Look at that. We got a GoPro angle under the trailer now. This is sweet for the replays. Here we go, off the line, Alex G in the lead in that blue E46, Dustin in that Kerchu 95 C6 Corvette right behind him. Not right behind him, if I'm going to be honest there. Dustin seems to be way off on proximity, chops this corner up to make sure he can gain some proximity there, gain some ground on Alex. Here we go, Alex coming under the trailer here. That boy on the limiter, on the chip all the way through this course. Yeah, look at the little claim out the window. He knows that was fire. Dustin doing a good job to stay there, but unfortunately just never super active in that chase position. Alex right where he needs to be on that inner, right where he needs to be on this inner, right where he needs to be on this outer. He could be a little bit further out, but I can't complain too much. That's just a fellow E46 feller there.
It's a bummer they can't hear how much limiter Alex has.
Man, I hope this comes through on the live stream, how hard Alex is driving. I know it doesn't look like it because his wheel speed and his vehicle speed are quite similar. He's not making a ton of smoke out there, but we can hear him over here on the limiter all the way through the latter half of this course. He is really pushing that car, and that Corvette unable to make up that proximity, which is very impressive out of Alex. Here we go. Off the start line, Dustin in the lead. Alex giving chase. Dustin giving him the slip a little bit on that run-up. Obviously, that C6 making gobs of power comparatively. Alex doing a good job to stay with him on that run-up. Here we go. Both inners look great from Dustin. Dustin is pouring it on here, doing a great job in that outer zone. Here we go. Alex cuts across the smoke line, right up into his door as we come under the trailer. Both cars doing a great job. Man, and both of these drivers trying their hardest to go as fast as possible through this course. You see Alex unable to make up a ton of ground in the latter half of that battle. That C6 really pouring on the smoke. We're going to have to go to our after hours replay here just to double check on this one.
Deliberating on this one.
This is going to be a tough call. We need to deliberate this one a little bit more. We're going to take a look at these replays one more time. I had to abstain from that decision because I'm just a little bit too biased. Alex is one of the good homies. He's going to get the win over Dustin there, just having a lot better proximity in the latter half of that course than the Corvette was able to pull off, even with more power. But here we go. We've got Nick Sr. He is leading David, one of the New Mexico boys, a Drift Colorado regular versus an out-of-state threat. Here we go in that E36, getting absolutely gapped off the line. Nick knows it, too. He's going to e-brake in, get this course started early, come around that first outer clip, not inner clip, but he uses it as an outer. Here we go. He's coming around this outer zone, textbook outer zone through here. He's going to be coming back through, trying to knock this in on the inner. David doing everything he can to catch up, but very hard with that power differential. Cuts the course, clutch kick in. We hear it over here in the judges' tower, and does a good job getting to the door of Nick Sr., but unfortunately, just kind of lost that drag race on the run-up and unable to have an active chase through most of the course. Nick doing a good job aside from that first inner clip to be everywhere he needs to be. So we'll see what we can do on the latter half of this battle. Nick definitely with a clear advantage here. As you can see from our drone shot, unfortunately, nowhere to be seen is David in his E36. He's putting up a valiant effort, though. I mean, he was on that clutch, full throttle all the way through, trying to make sure that he was able to come through there. Oh, and he clips our drone as we come through there. That's awesome to watch on the replay. Let's see if our drone op can grab that and get that fixed up before our finals here. But let's see, how far are we through the bracket, Zach? How are we doing? Looks like we have a couple more battles to get into the semis, right?
Yeah.
We're about halfway through the top 8. We have Alex with a seat in our semifinals, or in our quarterfinals, I should say. Nick Sr. versus David is going to be the second battle of this top 8. Oh, here we go. We've got the second half of this battle. David in the lead. Nick Sr. giving chase. I am glued to our TV here to watch this one. A little bit far off is David on that first inner clip, but here we go. Doing a good job through that outer. Nick dialing up the aggressiveness in the chase. Great job from David on that second inner as he transitions under the tunnel here, and here we go. That Corvette is going to be surging to the side of that E36. Man, David versus Goliath, and it actually is David versus Nick Sr. Nick Sr. with a clear vehicle advantage as far as power goes, but look at that. David giving her a little bit of sauce on the very backside of this course. Having a fun time here, as always. Nick Sr. going to be taking the win on this one, making sure we have some exciting chases to watch. Nick has been awesome. I cannot wait to see how Alex tries to counteract that C6 Corvette's power. Oh, look at that. We've got a sweet Proform shirt worn by one of our homies. Luke down here chilling down by the trailer. Luke, turn around. Luke, turn around. Hell yeah. Up here with Zach Stemmis, Proform Suspension and Alignment. Also wanted to make sure we give a big shout out to After Hours Auto Supply and Mile High Motorsports, Dark Arts Performance, Springs Tires and Auto, Drift Dummies, Regenstein, 3 Series Parts, Low Wax BB, Callaway Sprinklers, and of course Drift Colorado for having us out here on this beautiful sunny Saturday. Big shout out to all the people who make this possible, including our volunteers down at the start line, both of my buddy Zach for getting roped into judging with me out here in the sun, and of course our production crew. We've got Steve running the live stream. We've got all of these awesome camera ops, drone ops, media people out here in the building, making sure all these drivers look as good as they possibly can. And of course all the fans for being out here at Pikes Peak International Raceway, braving the weather with us. Here we go. Cameron and CJ Kobus. This is a battle to watch. CJ in the lead, Cameron in the chase. Both of them come through that first inner a little bit off from CJ, but not by a ton, and a textbook big angle on that outer. Comes out of that outer zone a little bit early. Does a great job on that inner. Cameron not super close to him as they both come through under the trailer, but Cameron still right there transitioning with him as well. CJ Kobus running away in that C6 trackside photography Corvette. Here we go, second half of this battle. Cameron is going to be leading CJ Kobus. Cameron with a good initiation, gets right out to angle. A lot of smoke coming off of that car. He is definitely turned up, but he is using that inner clip as an outer zone there, unfortunately causing CJ to straighten there in the chase. We did talk about this in the driver's meeting. I did have to clarify that if the lead driver is way offline, that is not a fault of the chase driver. But here we go, right back into it. CJ Kobus on that limiter, making sure he makes his presence felt at the side of Cameron. We're going to have to double check. I want to see how bad this bobble was from CJ right here as we go to this replay. Yeah, you can see big angle, way overshot that initiation, and then checks way up, comes back in. I definitely say the fault is on Cameron there, just for his line choice. But also definitely some fault there from CJ having to shut it down in that section. But very, very hard to navigate that when you're 3 or 4 cars off of that inner clip. We'll talk with the judges real quick and make sure we deliberate and get the right call made. Alrighty, after some deliberation, we're saying that Cameron Jones, unfortunately, too far off of that inner line or that inner clip there. So Kobus' mistake was caused by the lead driver. We are going to give Kobus the win there. Looks like we've got two New Mexico homies. They are lined up way back there at the start line. I wonder if they're going to start further back than normal on this run. Now they are pulling up slowly to the line here, getting ready for Zambu to send them. This is Charlie leading Matt. Matt in that green E36, Charlie in that 6.0 swapped E46 sedan. Both these dudes awesome to drive with on track. Both of these dudes awesome to hang out with in the pits. But now they're going to be battling against each other to see who's going to be battling against Chris Kobus in that final four. And here we go, taking off. Charlie in the lead, Matt giving chase. Little bit of a gap, but great job from that E36 staying close. Charlie, textbook on that inner, just a tire off there. Coming into this outer zone with plenty of speed, plenty of angle, pouring the smoke on as he comes past the judges. Matt doing a good job navigating through that smoke line. Charlie is a little bit off on that outer or that inner clip there as they come through the end of this course. They are doing a great job sticking together. Big, wide, smooth lines from the both of them. That's awesome to see. Man, awesome job out of both of those drivers, especially coming around that last corner. We're stoked to see the inverse of this battle. We are leaning forward in our seats, trying to make sure we can see the screen here for all these replays. I know this is going to be a close one. Here we go. Matt in the lead. Charlie giving chase. Zach Stemis eating a root beer float. Look at this. Both of these drivers doing a good job on that first corner. It looks like there's a little bit of a gap here. Charlie needing to make up some ground. Both of them doing a good job in that outer clip. There we go. Charlie's going to transition right here onto his door as we come under the trailer. These friends are no longer friends. Oh, man. Charlie pouring on that proximity. Both of these guys as they come through the finish here. This is going to be a difficult one because we had a couple of mistakes from both drivers in the lead and some solid chases from both these drivers as well. Let's take a look at this one more time. Alrighty, Charlie in that white E46 going to get the win on that one. Just a little bit more X factor in that car and driver there, but both of them doing an awesome job. Definitely an exciting battle to watch. Alrighty, our next battle is going to be between Nick Sr. in that blue C6 Corvette versus Alex G in that blue E46 330 CI. Is this Cinderella run over for Alex G? It has been everything he can do to keep up with some of these cars, and now he's going up against arguably the fastest car on course. He is going to need to make sure that he jumps the line. He does everything that he can to stick with that Corvette on the run-up. Let's see if he can make it happen. Here we go. Nick pulls up to the line. So we got Alex G, I believe, in the lead. Nick giving chase. Oh, no. Nick is going to be in the lead. Alex G giving chase. Oh, big gap. Alex unable to get up with him. It looks like he's got a vehicle issue. He is not oh, now he is in drift. Here we go. Maybe missed a gear or had a bobble there. Nick is going to be way out front, filling out all of the zones, doing a great job of leading in his Corvette. Alex, unfortunately, just way far back, maybe having a vehicle issue, maybe having a misshift. Unfortunately, was just not in the picture for that entire run. Here we go. As we pan out wide, we can see Alex come through the finish. Definitely an unfortunate circumstance there. I'm not sure if that is just a power differential thing. I think there may have been an issue with Alex's car on that run-up. All right, here we go. We are going to see the inverse of this battle. Alex looking like he is starting way back. And, oh, maybe they switched positions there. It looks like they were flip-flopping a little bit. I was a little curious. It seemed as though Nick started that run from the inside there, even though he was in the lead.
Inside this time too. Yeah, they're staging them differently.
And it looks like they're staging them a little bit differently than we would normally see. But either way, we got it all figured out here. Here we go. Zambu sending him off the line. Alex in the lead. Should be Nick giving chase. Nick out in front of him. Wait, is Nick running a lead again? What is going on here? We're gonna have to take a look at this battle, potentially rerun this whole thing. I'm a little lost on here. But Nick doing a good job leading here. We got Alex giving chase. And it looks like as they come through, both drivers doing a good job as they come through the end here. We're getting some confirmation from the start line as far as what happened. We'll take a look at this one and run it back. Folks, we are communicating with the start line here. We unfortunately had Nick jump the start on his chase run, ended up coming around Alex, and that was what the confusion was on that first and second run there. So we are going to have the start line chat with both of those drivers, see how we can come up with a decision. Technically, Alex will have the option to move on here, as it was Nick at fault for jumping him on the start on his chase run. So Nick Sr. needed to stay behind him on that run. We are going to talk with both of those drivers, see if they want to rerun the whole thing, if they want to rerun just a chase, or what they would like to do. Alrighty, folks. Alex elected to get the win on that one. He was offered the win because Nick Sr. ended up overtaking him on the run-up when Alex was supposed to be in the lead. So Alex may have lifted a little bit off throttle, and Nick Sr. came around him. Definitely a swinging it move, if you ask me. But unfortunately gets punished by not following the lead follow rules here. So if you are a follow driver, you have to stay behind that lead driver unless the lead driver makes a substantial mistake and you have to go around them. So Alex going to be moving on into our finals here, and he will be battling the winner of CJ Kobus and Charlie. Nick Sr. is going to be battling for that third place battle in our third place battle there. Here we go. We are getting them ready to go. This is CJ Kobus versus Charlie in that E46. Both of these LS powered. One of these a C6 Corvette. One of them an E46 sedan. Here we go. Zambu getting ready to send them at the line. Arms go down. Cars take off. We are well on our way here. Kobus in the lead. Charlie giving chase. Both of them initiating plenty early up on the bank off the apron there. Exactly what we like to see from these bigger horsepower, bigger grip cars. CJ Kobus a little bit off of that inner clip there. We want to see him get a little bit deeper into this one as he does a good job in the start of it but comes out of it a little bit early. Nice job on this second inner clip, but Charlie is right there with him. Charlie not giving him an inch, and there we go. The proximity that we want to see as we approach the final stages of competition here. Little door tap from CJ in the lead. Great to see from both of these drivers. Both those LSs making noise and making smoke as they come through here through the final turn. We're going to get this turned around. As on the live stream, we are taking a look at the replay here. I do have to say, as a judge, Chris came out of this outer zone quite early there. Does a good job on this inner, but unfortunately that first inner and that first outer, not as pretty as we'd like to see. Charlie doing a good job navigating behind him, making sure he follows his line pretty precisely, and both those drivers having a great time as they come across the line. Here we go. Charlie in the lead. CJ Kobus giving chase in that trackside C6 Corvette. Charlie doing a great job on the inside clip there. Kobus having a hard time getting to his door, but here we go. Big angle out of Charlie on that outside zone, letting Chris Kobus get up to his door. Great job on that inner. A textbook lead run from Charlie. Pulls a little bit of angle out of it to run extra wide across the finish. And Chris doing an amazing job. Very quick debate here from the judges. Charlie getting the win and moving on to our final battle. That means that our 3-4 battle is going to be between two C6 Corvettes. We will have Nick Sr. versus CJ Kobus. For this 3-4 battle, we will not be announcing winners from these battles, but we'll be writing them down, and you guys will hear about them in our award ceremony in just a little bit.
moving on to the finals and the consolation battle here in just a minute. We're going to have Alex G in his 330 E46 BMW versus Charlie, also in an E46 BMW, but with a 6-liter LS under the hood. A little bit of a power differential there. We'll see how that checks out. And then in the consolation battle, we are going to have Nick Sr. in a Corvette versus CJ in a Corvette. A little bit of Corvette on Corvette crime. Holding off for just a couple minutes here, and then we will see those final 2 battles of your Group B competition here at Pikes Peak International Raceway. Getting an update from the starting line. Looks like the drivers are checking on tires right now. Looks like after this many rounds getting to the finals here, got to make sure they've got enough grip to get them around the course in the fashion that they would want. So it looks like we've got a couple tire changes. Bear with us. We will roll some B-roll. We've got a brief break in the action here. Looks like the competitors from Group B going into the final 2 battles here are changing some tires. But we are looking forward to Group A right after this. We're going to have some more high-powered cars without factory crash protection. So these cars are going to be a little bit higher level. See how they perform. They're running a very similar track. I believe we have one change in zones from an inner to an outer right before we go into the trailer here. Compensates a little bit more for those more high-powered cars with a little bit more grip. Looks like they're going to be running all outers throughout the course. So similar layout, but a little bit changed for those high-power cars. Should be seeing a return to action here in just a few minutes. Feel free to hang on with us until that point.
We are getting ready to send them as we take a look at the ring over here at Pikes Peak International Raceway. A great place to burn off your extra tires, do some burnouts. At some of our festival events, we also have a burnout competition where you can win $500+ doing a sweet burnout. That is the Ring Competition Summer of Smoke series. Make sure to check that out if you are at Ascend, our event, coming up here in about 2 weeks. We got the clear to send from the start line. This is going to be Nick Sr. and CJ Kobus, that trackside photography C6, and Nick Sr. in that big Nick's Auto C6 Corvette. 2 Corvettes in our 3-4 battle. We won't be announcing the winner of this one to the public just yet. We will wait until our final award ceremony for that. But here we go. Nick putting on a masterclass in front of CJ Kobus. Both of these drivers doing an amazing drive as they come under the trailer. It looks like CJ playing it a little bit safe behind Nick there. Not super duper close, maybe a little bit more grip dialed into that blue C6 Corvette of Big Nick's Auto. But both of these guys doing an amazing job as they come around the course. Amazing inner clip here from Nick right on that candy, and then he transitions out to this outer. Does a good job getting out there at the start, comes out of it a little bit earlier than we would like. Not sitting out there as far as we would normally love to see, but does a great job at the rest of the zones. Both these drivers really dialing up the heat here. Here we go. I just wanted to make one note before we go into our A competition here in just a little bit after these final battles. The A layout is going to be switched a little bit from our B layout. Our inner zones here are going to turn into outer zones, and they will be initiating way up on the bank right by that PPIR turn 4 that you see in the background of the shot right now. It will come down off the bank, do outer zone, outer zone, outer zone, under the trailer, and one more outer zone to finish it off. That's for our big power cars in our A group, but for right now, we're getting ready to send the inverse of this battle for 3-4 between Nick Sr. and CJ Kobus, trackside photography C6 Corvette. Here we go. We've got Zambu on that start line, getting ready to send him off. CJ Kobus giving lead. Oh, Nick in the chase. Looks like he may have stalled it out. Oh, big bobble out of Nick, leaving the line. Potentially a vehicle issue, but look at this. He is charging to get back up to him. Chris Kobus a little bit off of that inner clip. Here we go. Big Nick with a huge smoke trail behind him. Good job from Chris. Getting in there. Nick cutting the course everywhere he can to get up close. Here we go. Door him, Nick. Door him, door him, door him. Oh my goodness, almost falling out of my seat here. I'm so excited to see the last half of this battle. Great job getting back up on him by Nick Sr., but was it too little too late? Man, unfortunate for Nick there in the chase position. Looked like a huge bobble coming out of the start there. So we'll take a look at this replay real quick, see if we can see what happened one more time. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will not be announcing a winner on this one, but we are going to deliberate for just 1 sec to see if we can make sure we make the correct call here. We are getting ready to send our final battle here. This is Alex G in the lead, Charlie in the chase. E46 on E46 Crime. Here we go. M54B30 versus 6-liter LS. Can the little M54 that could bring him another top spot on the podium here? Alex G in the lead, Charlie in the chase. Alex G initiates, coming through this first inner clip here, doing a good job coming around. It's so funny to see just a little bit of smoke coming out of that M54 car and then the big Monster 6.0 right behind him. But look at that. Nice and smooth, very fluid coming through that outer zone. Great job coming through that inner clip. Here we go as he comes through the trailer. Charlie right on him, not giving him an inch as they come through that last corner. Alex, big claim on the end there. Alex knew that that was the driving that he needed to do in the lead. Now let's see what he can do in the chase. Here we go, getting ready for the inverse of this battle. Just want to thank everybody out here spectating for coming and supporting these awesome drivers out here. They're making it happen for us, making these battles excited. Zambu is getting ready to send them over there on the start line. We have got Charlie in that white E46 going to be leading us off here. Alex going to be trying to keep up. The little M54 that could. Does it have one more battle in it? Here we go as we take a look at this drone shot. Alex trying to jump him off the line. And here we go, right next to Charlie on this run-up. Both of them initiating. Looks like a little bit of a straighten or a bobble from Charlie after his initiation. A little wide on this first clip here, but really stretching that M54 car of Alex. He is way off, even too far deep on that outer, but absolutely ripping through the tunnel here. Look at Alex go. He is not letting him get away. Awesome job from both of these drivers. We're going to need to take a look at that replay one more time, see if Charlie was off track on that outer zone because he was super wide. Either way, amazing job from both of these drivers. Getting smoked out in the tower from a B-class competition run is awesome to see. Look at that. He's so... Ladies and gentlemen, we have a decision on the winner of that battle. So we are going to be letting you guys know as soon as A gets done, we will be doing our award ceremony with our top four there. We'll be taking about a 25-30 minute break for all of us to reset here up in the tower, and down at the start line, our A-class drivers are going to be getting ready.